so the kit that evilenergy sent out to me is the regulator they've got. There's 2 fuel filters here. You have 2 fuel filters, their electric pump, and 2 mounting kits here, and also the 15-gallon fuel cell here, and the PTFE fuel line hose. Also, they sent out this really cool AN style wrench. It's like an adjustable wrench. I got one from Speedway, but it's not real great because it's just straight. But this one, as you can see here, it's kind of got the hex shape in it, so hopefully that doesn't slip and mar like the other one does. I also ordered myself, I just went ahead and ordered another 20-foot row because I might be doing transmission lines as well. Let's get into it. So all that fuel line is going to be jammed into this unit. I got this at a swap meet. It's a 20-gallon. I'm going to currently put the 15 in it for now to see how that does, but we got a big block truck here, so I might end up swapping over to this 20-gallon, and then the 15-gallon might be used in Williams Toyota because it's 4-cylinder, does a little bit better on fuel. With all that being said, I think the first line of attack we should probably handle is fitting up this fuel tank, and then from there we can kind of build our system out. What I'll be doing is I'll be putting the fuel pump in, filter, and probably the regulator. Then we can land lines from there and figure it all out. I think if we get everything mounted, we can measure what lines we need. That's how I'm going to attack it. Alright, I got us a little rough hole here kind of marked up. You can see where the X is going to be. Really hate to mess up this pristine bed floor, but we're going to have to. I'm going to just get the old, I guess, slitting disc out on this thing. Make us a little hole here. We can come back in and kind of try to radius on these corners a little bit just to make it look a little nicer. But like I said, I mean, the bed floor is pretty rough, but we still don't want to just make it look like a hack job. So yeah, we might end up eventually making like a little cover plate or something, just so it makes it look a little tidier. I don't know. Is it really worth all that? Let's get to cutting. Alright, so I got this thing cut out. It's kind of hard to see back here in the back of the shop where I got this dang truck, but I radiused this thing just a little bit there, and I went ahead and made room for this one as well, because in the future we might be running a return if we ever go to like a fuel injection. Currently I've got a 180 on this thing, but I've also got a 90 degree here that I can put on it. That's all going to be dictated by basically where we're going to try to land the fuel pump and everything. And there's a little cross brace down there that I might try to get that thing to land on, and it's a really solid structural piece of the frame, so might be a good spot for it. So I guess we'll go fuel filter next, then pump. So that's our little fuel pump deal, or this is their fuel filter. It's pretty nice. Pretty sure you can take this thing apart and clean it, so pretty handy. It's a little bit bigger than what I use like on my 64 here. I just used like a little Jeg style one from well, Jegs, but yeah, that's what I used on that. So this is a little bit bigger. They did send me 2. I'm not sure if I'll use both. I'll probably put one obviously pre-filter, but or pre-pump, but I don't really know if there's a reason why you'd want to have it another one after. But I guess if something happened to your pump, something wouldn't get in the carburetor, but if something happens to the pump, I'm probably down anyway. So yeah, that's going to be a thing I'll debate on if we're going to add the 2 or just the single. So yeah. And then here's the cool little mounts that they make for those things. It's pretty dang sweet. They're all anodized like aluminum and stuff, kind of like all their fittings and stuff, so that'll be good. So I've got our 3 mounts here. I'm going to go ahead and opt to do the second fuel filter. I was talking earlier in the video like I wasn't going to, but like I was saying, if this thing breaks up or anything, it'll shoot it down that carburetor and we'll be kind of SOL. So we're going to hit all 3 of these. We're going to have this one in front of the pump to the filter, and then up to our regulator. So as you can see, I got our fittings and all this stuff, and everything's working out really good. Also, I used this wrench for the first time. That's a lot better than that Speedway one I got. Like I was saying, it's got the little hexagonal thing on there so it doesn't slip and round off like my other one does. I'm gonna go over here, try to locate this thing, try to figure out where they need to go. We can start drilling and nailing stuff down. Here we go. Show us what you got, Timmy.
So, drill bit, right? Snug it up. Listen for the ratchets. Did you hear them? Uh-huh. Now go 1 click.
Locked in.
Locked in. Hey, you got
the more you know. You ain't got a trick for that?
No. No, I do not.
Alright, so as you've seen, my buddy Timmy and Luke came out last week and they helped me knock out a little bit of this. We got the fuel filter and fuel pump mounted. Also, Luke, he made a little block-off plate here for our fuel pressure regulator and flipped our little line here on the carburetor. So now what we need to do, we need to get some lines made, and I'm going to run you through one of them, how I make them. Might not be the right way, but that's the way I do it. So let's get into one of these lines, and we'll just start with the simple one up here real quick. That way I can kind of show you how it all works out. Here we go. So we're going to be using the PTFE hose, which is like a little bit of a, I don't know, it's almost like a plastic inner, it's just a little bit higher pressure, a little bit better line, but it is a little bit harder to deal with. But they send you the instructions here and how to install all of it. So I've got our hose marked out here. It's going to be 8.5 inches. What I did was just came in here and basically measured to the back of the fitting we're going to be using to the other side of the fitting here that we're going to be using, and that's going to be roughly 8.5. I just like to mock everything up like that. So you can either use a slitting disc here or a hacksaw. I'm going to use a hacksaw on this, try to give it a shot. If I don't like it, I'm going to go over here to the old trusty slitting disc and whack it off. That's what you're left with pretty much. If there's any frays on there, it says on there to kind of knock them off there. But another thing I like to do, I'll flip you around here, is just, if you got a belt sander, do it. If not, just use the snip. Get those burrs out of your way a little bit. Alright, now we just got to remove this tape. Take your end here, kind of work it on there. It slid right on there, as you can see. So now the next thing we got to do is put this little ferrule down in here and then tighten that up onto it. I'm going to try to find just a little bit of lubricant there. Got just a little bit of this spray lubricant. Just give her just a little bit on there, and hopefully we can start working this thing down in here. Get my safety jaws out here. Alrighty, there's one end down. Just got to duplicate it on this other end here, and then we'll be good to go, and we'll get this thing installed. Well, we pretty much got our fuel system now. I have to go underneath the truck, and I'll have to fasten this. I'm going to probably come down here somewhere on the firewall also and just kind of tidy that up and everything. But everything's looking really good. I like the way it all routed out. I really dig the plate. Like I said, we kind of ditched on all of the heater and all that because we're trying to go fast, not be comfortable, right? So, but yeah, we're just kind of doing a little weight reduction here and there. That's why we tried to keep everything aluminum if we could. But back here on the back, I need a 90-degree fitting there. I guess I only had 2 in the kit, so I've got to order one for that. So we've got to do a 90 down to our fuel filter. I could do a 45, but it just doesn't look right. So there's no sense to really rush it. I'm not going to be hooking this up right now anyway, because I've got to put a new yoke on the transmission here. It was a bolt-in yoke, so it had the bolt back here, and you know, I didn't know Turbo 400s made 2 different ones, so smart me, I just took the bolt out, and guess what? It leaked. So I've got the right yoke over here to replace on that, so separate video deal, but we're getting a lot closer. And just like on the 64, I've got the progression ignition. We're going to be putting that on the 67 also. So, but that brings me to my next thing. More excuses, I guess, but this is a pretty good one. Hillary and I are going in Friday, which this video should drop on Thursday, so we're going in to have our second kiddo. So yeah, I might be a little absent on video and stuff like that, so bear with me. I'll try to get updates out here as much as possible. I'll just do what I can. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Check out Evil Energy. I'll drop my code right here. Get yourself a little discount and get you some of their products. Like I've told you, I've used it on the 64. Luke's used it on his 66. It's great stuff. It really is. I mean, you can get the more expensive stuff, the Earls and all that stuff. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're made somewhere different, but I know I've used hot rod fuel hose. I've used a lot of different things, and Evil Energy is right up there with all those. So make sure you check them out. Use that code so they know I sent you that way. But the video's kind of been all over the place. I apologize. Southeastern Truck Nationals kind of got right in the middle of crunch, so it happens. We had to kind of put the 67 on the back burner, but we got the engine out of the 64, so I'm waiting on a couple parts for that. So I figure what better time than now to finish up our fuel system. So big shout out again to Evil Energy for sending all that stuff out and making that all possible. But get out and work on something of your own, and I'll see you on the next one.